Hello my lovelies, I hope that you're doing well and I hope that you've had an amazing celebration of Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to all the amazing fathers who show up and are available for their children. I celebrate you, and my prayer for you today on Father's Day is that you will not labor in vain. You will reap the fruits of your labor in good health. So keep showing up, keep sowing the seeds, keep watering them. You will sure harvest. And guess what? The joy of harvest is that harvest is obviously always more than the seeds that you planted. So in today's live session, I want to first of all welcome you to another session of Grow with Katie. My name is Katie. I'm your favorite girl. If you haven't met before, you know how we do it. Thank you for stopping by. I really appreciate you. God bless you. If you have subscribed to my channel, thank you. I'm here because of your love and because of your support. I don't take it for granted, and I do hope that you continue to get blessed whilst you're on this channel. So please help me and share, continue to share your experiences with me as well in the comment section, and help me share this live video as well. You never know who can get blessed with it. So let's go straight in. In today's session of Grow with Katie, I just want to touch on 5 points on what can help you deal with a breakup, a separation, or a divorce. Yes, these are very bitter pills to swallow. We go through life experiences sometimes, especially with relationships. When you meet someone, you have all these dreams together, you have all these plans together, you build memories together, especially in the initial stages of the relationship. A lot of the times it's always a lot of high hopes, but then what happens when all that suddenly comes crashing down? Maybe you've invested 16 years, 20 years, 25 years, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, whatever be the amount of time that you've invested yourself into a relationship with someone, come what may, regardless of who is at fault. When everything ends up crashing, there's always a period of pain that we go through. Should I say a period of loss? It comes with a feeling of bereavement, so you go through a grieving process. And that takes me to tip number 1. Tip number 1 for you today is acknowledge your feelings. Yes, you're dealing with a lot of feelings of resentment, bitterness, anger, mixed emotions. Some people are happy, some are not. So your emotions can be quite up and down, but it's very important that you acknowledge your feelings. How? By acknowledging that it hurts, by acknowledging that you need time to grieve. You go through the grieving process, because if you try and pretend and cover it up, if you work with people who are suffering or have a lot of mental health difficulties, sometimes when it's very much related to stressful situations in life, or very stress related, then a lot of the times you see that when you don't acknowledge those feelings and face them, you cover them up, or should I say you put a paint over it. Guess what? As time goes on, that paint would wash away, it would fade away, and the pain will be staring at you right in the face. So acknowledge those feelings. You're a human being. You will feel the pain, even if you didn't love them at some point, especially when children are in the picture. You would obviously feel some level of pain, and that's okay. Why not face your feelings, face your emotions? I realized from my experience when I went through my own divorce is that it just allowed me to trace a lot of things back. When you're in the process of acknowledging your feeling, one thing you must also master is the act to not get stuck in that vicious cycle of how bad and how sad you're feeling. Remember, whilst acknowledging your feelings, the end goal is to get healed, to let go, and to move on. So that's your end goal. You don't want to get stuck in the same circles for years and years and years. That's not the end goal. So tip number 2 for you is to take time out and reflect and make the necessary changes. We live in a society where when things happen, people separate, people split up, people go through a divorce. There's always a tendency of he said, she said, she did, and he did. So it's always a time out for you to just sit back, take a time out and reflect. Do some thinking. Own your own mistakes. What did you do? What role did you play? What did you contribute in that relationship splitting up? A lot of the times, fair enough, I can agree with you that the blame can be on one side. However, you must have had a part to play. Even if it's in choosing that spouse, it would help you trace patterns of past relationships. Are you prone to always choosing people who are like that or this way or that way? So if for anything, it just helps you to look into some patterns that you might be repeating. The danger if you don't do this, however, is that you might not, if you don't sit back and reflect and make the necessary changes on your part, you might end up recycling the same pain. You see, you might end up going back to choosing the wrong, the same kind of partner or the same kind of spouse or the same kind of person that gives you pain. Or whereas maybe it's the way that you are dealing with situations, the problem could be you yourself. So look yourself in the mirror and have an honest conversation with yourself. What will you do differently when you start the next relationship? It gives you a headspace to clear your head. It allows you time to not make decisions out of emotions. And yes, I must tell you, it is okay to be alone. I've been alone for almost 3 years now, and people say, oh, why is such a beautiful woman single? It's very much okay to be alone if it's for an appointed time for you to sit back, make changes, work on yourself, change some behavior, some characters, whatever you need to change. Keep working on yourself. It's very important if you're not going to recycle the same pain. So don't let anyone pressure you into going into anything, because it's just fine to be okay. It's not an easy journey, I must tell you. You can get quite lonely, but it's absolutely okay. And tip number 3, avoid using alcohol or drugs or overeating yourself or not eating. Yes, a lot of the times we want to look for temporary measures. We want to look for something that will numb the pain now. And you hear people say, when I've spoken to people, say, well, so long as I can go to bed today not feeling that pain. Well, honey, I'm so sorry to burst your bubbles. Guess what? You will not feel that pain tonight. But what happens when you wake up in the morning? What happens about the long-term damage? If you have children after a split up or a separation, for example, your children are looking up to you. They are looking up to you. So you don't want to do anything that will be damaging in the long run. Tip number 4, you have to make up your mind to mingle again. Even if you've decided to never get into another relationship or never settle, but my advice for you today is never lose your ability to love again. Your ability to love again is your safe space. Never allow the experience to box every man or woman in the same box and say, oh, have you heard people say, oh, well, all men are the same, all women are the same? No, I beg to differ. All men are not the same, all women are not the same. You still have some men out there that are very responsible, loving, loyal, committed. Yes, there are still men and women out there like that. So don't let one bitter experience tell you that, oh, I'm never going to do this, I'm never going to do that. No, never say never. So make up your mind. Once you feel that you've had that healing, you've gone through that grieving process, give yourself time again, mingle, have a chat to people, keep working on yourself, and you just never know, you might just find your Mr. Right. Well, so don't be too harsh on yourself. That's tip number 5. Don't be too harsh on yourself. The danger of doing that is that you can end up playing the blame game. Remember, it's not about who was right and who was wrong. It's about owning your own mistakes, learning and moving on. So don't sit there and be harsh on yourself. I wish I couldn't have done that. I wish I didn't do that. I wish. I've been there, done it, and you don't want to know where it landed me. But as the Lord grants me grace, I will keep sharing my story with you. So when I went through my own divorce, I ended up, being too harsh on myself. I wish I'd done that. I wish I didn't do that. Guess what? It landed me in severe depression, and I almost lost my life. Where would my kids be today if that happened? God forbid. But we thank God for the mercies of God. Hallelujah. So just pick yourself up. Don't be too harsh on yourself. What has happened has happened. Remember, it's an experience that you can learn and grow from. If not for anything, I've told you many times that your scars are not things that you should be ashamed of. So that is a scar that you can draw a lot of compassion from. You can draw a lot of lessons and experience from it, and then go on to be able to empower other people and tell them that, look, that's just an experience, it's not the end of the world. So don't be too harsh, don't be too critical on yourself. It has happened. Can you change it? No. Can you make can you learn and make better decisions for the future? Absolutely. Your future is bright. It's up to you if it's gonna happen.